Alright, gang, welcome back to our Triple Threat Challenge here in Hutan Pantai. It is now December, and we are going to sell the rest of the canola. It is dropping in price, so we need to sell it pretty quickly here. The best place to sell it looks like the Harbor Grain Elevator, which is the one we sold it at last time, I believe. So, more run-ins with the crew of the slew, I guess I should say, of cars and all their names may be upon us. And speaking of the devil, there goes Alfred right there. No, I guess he's not really the devil. Byron and Scarlet are the devils, for sure. They're the biggest problems. But nevertheless, we are on our way to sell the canola, so we've got a couple of trips here to make. It's going to make us some good money. I also have very little money, as you can see. There's a reason for that. I spent a little bit of money just trying to kind of block off, section off, paint off, whatever you want to call it, the fields a little bit more. I talked about doing that already, right? And so I did do that. Off camera, which I will show you in just a second. The first field of long grain rice looks to me like it is long enough now where we do not need to flood it, but we do need to flood the other one. That one's going to need flooded for a little while, so things are going well for the most part as far as growing goes. We are going to put some wheat in the field today. Okay, so here we go. So when we looked at this before, there's an arrow coming this way, which means... But why does it have a stop sign at the end then? Maybe it was my fault. But the stop sign at the end doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Why would they have a stop sign there if it is truly a one-way? It has since been removed. So that update that they did has evidently resolved this? Or was it this area that we got stuck in? No, it wasn't this area. I don't know. Looks like they may have resolved it. Maybe they knew there was an issue there, and if that patch that came out, maybe they fixed it. Nevertheless, we're on our way to selling this. This is going to be some good money here. Some real good money once we're done with selling all this canola, I should say. There's a lot of money to be had here, which is what we need, right? We need some money. We're hurting pretty bad here for money. Now, it's not going to give us enough. Oh. It's not going to... I should pay attention to the lights there, Z. It's not going to give us enough to buy another field or anything like that, unfortunately. But that's okay. We may be able to make our... I ain't got time for this. We may be able to make our upgrade to the fertilizer spreader so we can utilize that as a lime. We may be able to do that, potentially. I don't know if we're ready or want to do that, but we might be able to. That's an option. Otherwise, we'll just kind of hang on to the money. Maybe put down another shed or something at some point. Maybe we can try to look to doing the goats, potentially, right? At least get that prepped and ready to go. Maybe not put anything down because we're not going to have any grass or anything. Well, we have to get a mower at least. We have a little bit of grass around our area, but it's not much. But we'll see what we end up getting here. Should be a decent amount. It's looking really good. Really, really good. Better than I was expecting good. That's fantastic. 42 grand? You kidding me? We also had a pallet of canola oil finally spawn. How many months was that? 4? 4 or 5 months to have one pallet spawn? It was nuts. So we do have some canola oil. I don't remember when canola oil is best, honestly. I need to look at that. It could be in December. I have no clue. But even if it is, we're going to have to figure out a way to pick it up. We're not going to be able to pick that up. There's no mod out there yet, and I don't necessarily know if I'd want to utilize it for this series or not, but there's no mod out there yet for being able to pick up pallets. So, the Neon Arcade. But if there was one, I mean, there's that option. We could always turn that on for some of the series to help speed things along. But really what we need to get is a front loader or something like that. Forklift, something to help us pick those up. And I think I could be mixing this one up with one of the trailers on the other series. But I think this one has the ability to be modified to turn into like a bale trailer, which we wouldn't utilize it as bales in this instance. We would utilize it for the pallets. But we'll have to double check that statement. Nevertheless, 42 grand. It's real nice. It's real nice indeed. So I'll head back. I'll get this filled up again. I'll meet you right back down here at the shipment container, and we'll get going. All right, we are pulling up here now. This is not as full, obviously, as the other one. It's only 56%, so should be around another 20-ish grand coming in the bank for us, which I am not going to complain at all. 60 grand is fantastic. While we're here, let me check the prices again. I want to see what the canola oil price is. I don't even recall if I can put a front loader on this Challenger or not, but did I go too far? No, I was in the right spot, just not in the right area. Okay, so canola oil. It is best now, so we should try to sell it now, even though there's not much there. We should probably try to sell it. 23,683 out of that harvest. We're up to 66 grand. That's fantastic, gang. That is absolutely fantastic. Not anywhere near enough to buy any of the plots of land that we have to buy, right? Because if you recall, it's all in the description down below in case you're new and just checking this out. But we've got to buy a couple plots of land because that was what was given to us from the randomizer. We've got to put down some goats, which I'm kind of leaning towards the goats, I think, right now. It does mean we have to get some kind of a mower. I need to look at the mowers. I haven't even looked at them yet. So before I actually go full force on stating that, I need to look at the mowers and see how expensive they are. Because if the mowers are 30 grand, well, we're screwed already. It's a big problem right now with it being such a new game. There's not enough out there that's cheap, which is what I typically utilize in a lot of the different series we do, right? A lot of the series we do, we start them off with little to no money or in very difficult situations. And so we end up utilizing a lot of the smaller equipment that may take us longer to do, but it's cheaper and helps us progress longer or faster. But nevertheless, I'll get this back to the farm. We do have to drill the rest of the remaining portion of the field. As you recall, we've been splitting that big field up into multiple fields. We've got one left to do. We're going to put wheat in that field. And, yeah, we'll get going on that. We'll probably need to flood the one long grain rice. We'll look at the other one and see if it needs to be flooded, but I do not think it will. But we'll look nonetheless, and we'll get going. All right, we're back here. Definitely looks like it's long enough to me now that it doesn't need to be flooded, but we'll go check it anyway. This one definitely has to be flooded, though. We also need to do a second application of fertilizer on this field today, which we'll do. But let's check this one. I'm almost guaranteeing it's going to say no. Yeah, does not need any flooding at all. So that one's good. That one's in the next growth stage. And I also checked to see if the Challenger tractor that we're utilizing has the ability to do a front loader of any sort. It does not. So we're not going to be able to pick up that canola today unless we find something else to help do it. I don't think there was anything out here. There's a Vulture, which is super nice. It does have the ability for a front loader attachment, but it is very expensive. If we went that path, and sold this Challenger for that one, we basically wouldn't be able to get anything else today. So here you go. Here's the little line I did, which again, it was not perfect, but I tried to make this one look a little bit more squared off than the angle that it was at, so it will have a little bit more room and availability to it when it comes time to re-drill that field over here. But we're underway, and again, I'm not. It's very weird to me, the paint setup that they did in this one. So in the last one, you had the ability to either do a circle or a square. This one, it's just a square the entire time. So it's very difficult to do what we were doing in the last one, which is what I always did, which was the circle one. I'll have to show you what I'm talking about. I'm showing you. It's probably much better to explain that than what I just did, but No, it's just more difficult, in my opinion. I'll have to get used to it, I guess. But it's more difficult right now, in my opinion, for me to paint something on the ground, like that grass there, than it was in the last one. Mostly just because I'm not used to it, right? But how's everybody doing today? Hopefully you're doing well. Not too bad here. As good as it can be. Hope you had a nice Thanksgiving and all that stuff. I think I said it in the last one of this series, but if I didn't for whatever reason and you're not watching any of the other series for whatever reason, well, first of all, why are you not watching them? I'm kidding. But anyway, hopefully you had a nice Thanksgiving. And here's some more grass I put down up here. As you can see, I tried to... This, again, is not a perfect line. It's an angle. They're all at angles, but, you know, we're just making them work as we can. You know, making do with what we got. But I gave it a little bit more room so we could drive here. I said I wanted to do that. When we get up here, it gets a little bit tighter. There's less room up here, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work with what we got for now. We're going to need gas for this tractor soon, but the good thing is the gas station is literally right there. Probably will need a little bit of a service as well soon. So we might end up just doing that today since we got some money now. I'd also like to, like I said, think about at least putting down the placeable for the goats, right? Because that is the animal that Randomizer gave us. We got goats, which is good. We haven't done goats yet. It's a new animal. All luck of the draw, though. I was hoping that we got a new animal, but you never know. You never know with the Randomizer what they're going to give you. The farm is starting to come together a little bit. We still got a ton of space, open space, but it's starting to come together. We got a barn, we got a house, got a silo. It's starting to come together. We're getting ready to have all 4 fields that, well, we split up one big massive field into 4 fields. All 4 fields drilled with some crop in it, so it's going to be making us some good money. It won't take us as long to do any of the drillings either. Now, my concern here, and I've talked about it a number of times, and most of you in the comments have said, no, it should be fine, but I still haven't tried it. My concern here is if I decide to put this on a worker, are they going to get all screwed up because that I split this big massive field into smaller fields? I don't know. The GPS, you would think, would be smart enough to figure it out, but I'm not holding my breath. I just don't know. So there's probably going to be a little bit missed here, but I'm going to put it on a worker for a brief second here. If I can get it set up properly. I don't want... Oh, it did. Look, it did fix it. It figured it out. It figured it out. Okay. Well, then I guess we're good. All right, we'll let him do whatever he wants to do. We'll see what happens. I'll keep an eye on him. So I talked about in the last episode, right, where I was going to put... where I was going to put the goats, right? And $14,000 is probably what we... Why was I not selecting it? I'm having issues with that lately, too. That's how in the one series we accidentally put down a string of honeybees when we didn't really want to put them where they were. So, somewhere like in here... I think would be good. I think it gives enough room. It does kind of section off that area a little bit. You kind of have to drive around, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. The other place we could put it, obviously, is over here on this side. Maybe on the side of the actual barn itself. That's an option. I kind of like that option too. Or maybe over here in the middle. But I feel like the middle is a little bit too big for it, I guess. Somebody also told me in the comments, one of my subscribers told me in the comments, that if you plow up an area, which right now we don't have a plow, so we can't even do it. If we bought a plow, we could do it. But if you plow up an area and then seed grass into that area, it will... you can utilize it for food instead of actually having to feed them as much, or something along those lines. That's something we're going to have to think about, I guess. I'm kind of leaning towards putting it here, though. The more that I see this, I kind of want to put it here, I think. I'm probably going to leave this line here lined up as best I can here with the edge of the barn, something like that. I think I kind of like that better. Yeah, I like that better. So that means we need to move the harvester out of the way. Well, the harvester out of the way. The header out of the way, excuse me. So we have to get in the harvester here. Let's get in first person view. We haven't done first person on the harvester yet. It's dirty. I need to clean this thing up. I need to get a pressure washer. I did not go at that the right way. Hopefully I can still get it. Perfect. So let's just move this out of the way here. And we can look a little bit closer at putting that down and seeing if that works out for us. Alright, so it's been put down, gang. I was actually able to customize it, which was cool. I didn't realize that was going to be a possibility. I should have showed that to you on camera, but I decided, you know what, I wanted to make sure that this went down the proper way, so I went off camera. But basically what happens is if you want to customize it, you put this down, and then you can draw the fence line around anywhere you want, as long as it's not restricted. And then let us go to basically about here. Now, the lines I did probably aren't the straightest, as opposed to just utilizing the one that was already pre-constructed. But I do like it better. It kind of runs along with the length here of the actual barn itself instead of sticking out a little bit too far. So I think this is a better setup for us. It might mean we can only hold we can hold less sheep, or well, not sheep, goat. But that's okay, right? That's all right. So we have the ability now to put down some goats. We at least have that put down. Now, as far as goats go, yeah, they're pretty much around the same price as sheep, except for the 16-month-old goats. They are a little bit more expensive, but that's kind of expected, right? Awesome. So we will have goat milk. So they eat grass and hay. Additionally, they require water. This animal has reached its breeding age, blah, 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 blah. Awesome. So we will be buying some goats here soon. We've got to get a mower for some grass. And then once the wheat is ready to harvest, obviously, we'll get some straw out of that. Which really they can't take straw, but we need hay, right? So we got to flip over the grass. I don't know why I was talking about straw there. Nevertheless, the goat pasture is down. It's just a matter of us getting all the products we need, all the pieces of equipment we need, I should say, to utilize it. I don't know why I was talking about straw. For some reason, I was thinking hay and straw were the same thing there for a second. Been a long weekend. All right, we'll set that there for now. It's unfortunate that that header does not fit through one of the openings here for the shed here. I really like our shed, or our barn, I should say, I guess. But that's all right. We'll figure something out for the header at some point, soon enough. More things will continue to come out in Mod Hub for us, and we'll find some cheaper stuff here eventually. But yeah, that's set up, so that's good. I'm happy about that. Let's see how the workers doing here, how they're getting on. They have missed a couple of bits, as you can see, which we will have to touch up. We knew I was going to have to touch that up because it was an angle. This is the same thing. And then down here, they're not going all the way to the end because I didn't do 2 headland passes, right? So we will have to do that bit of touch-up work as well. But they're not doing too bad at all. This is getting nice and flooded. Looks like it already is flooded, actually. I think it stopped putting water in. Now that I flooded this, though, I'm wondering, I might have screwed up. I don't remember. I feel like we did, but I don't remember if I can fertilize this when there's water on it. I'm questioning myself now. Let me get the worker down here to the end. I'm gonna take the worker off for a second here. Let me see if it'll let me fertilize it. If it's not, I'm gonna have to unflood it. I accidentally flooded it before we fertilized it. That was a mistake on my part, but I think we can do it. I don't necessarily know if that... I don't think that's really that realistic in real life, but I think the game lets you do it. We need a second tractor. We're getting to a point now where we could utilize this second tractor. Doesn't need to be as big of this one, but... Alright, let's see. Did it work? It is working. Okay. Alright, well, let's just run through this really quick while we're here. And we can pick up where the worker left off and get to drilling the rest of that field. Luckily, we have a decent amount of fertilizer in this, so this should be sufficient for us to do both fields. As long as I don't screw anything up here, we should have enough to do them both. So we're left with $45,000 after we put down our goat enclosure, pasture, whatever you want to call it. Which is good. I said I wanted to have the goat pasture down pretty soon, and we got it down with that canola. So the money we made from that canola sell. So gonna have to keep an eye out on the used market to see if there's another tractor that's has the ability to do a front loader on it, even if it's a smaller one than what we currently have. Because we want to get some of that canola sold here in the next month or two if we can, because it's a good price. But if we can't, it is what it is. We're just going to have to suffer with letting it sit there and store until we're able to find something that we can utilize for it. And just that little section in the middle. Perfect. Perfect. All done. Now, the other thing we need to think about here. Do we want to upgrade this fertilizer spreader to the other one that allows us to do the lime? Remember, we purchased 2 pallets of lime. They're not that expensive, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But remember, we purchased two of them already. They're sitting at the shop because we thought this thing that we're utilizing now could spread lime too, and it cannot. There's only one option right now if you want to put lime down, which is insane to me, but there's only one option, and that option is, where are you? This guy right here, 45 grand, which is basically what we have now. So basically, we would use the money we have now and sell, obviously, we would sell the actual fertilizer spreader we have, which is worth 18,510-ish by the time we fix it up, probably 20 grand, right? Is it worth spending that to lime the field? I don't know if it is. At least not yet. I don't know if it is. I think we have I just came at that the wrong way. I think we have bigger fish to fry right now. Don't you agree? I don't know. I mean, if we're going to do it, we need to do it today. Because after today, we're not going to have a field to utilize lime for quite a bit. Probably be doing a bit of a jump a couple months here between now and the next episode too because of that reason, but we'll see how things play out, how things go, right? So we've got some touch-up work to do throughout here, and we got to get the rest of this field drilled, and let's get to it. We'll see where we get to, and then we got to fertilize this field. And then that is pretty much the only things remaining we have to do today. The only other thoughts to do, and what we'll look at really quick here before we go into a bit of a time-lapse here, is the mowers. There's a $13,000 mower, so that's not terrible. It would take us a while, but that's not terrible. We don't have a ton of grass right now anyway, so even if we were to get goats, they would need to be 1 or 2, maybe 3 goats, right? Nothing crazy. I don't even know if, like some of this grass here, I don't even know if we can mow it or not. I would assume we can, but I haven't tried it. I would assume all this grass that's in our land can be mowed, even though it's just, you know, weeded grass. It's not good grass, but I'm assuming we can do it. But there have been maps on FS25, I know for a fact, the Ohio Richland series that we were running, probably my most successful series, at least to this point. This one and the Survivor 25 series have been very successful so far on FS25, but nevertheless, what I'm trying to say is that one, I know there were sections where a lot of people were like, why don't you just mow that grass right there? It's free grass. It wouldn't allow you to mow it. It wasn't real grass. It was, but it wasn't. If that makes sense. It was meant to look like real grass, but it wasn't grass you could mow. So, I would fully suspect that all this grass can be mowed, but I'm just a little skeptical about it, I guess. So we'll have to see. We'll have to play by ear and see how things go, right? Before we jump into this time lapse, let me do a little bit of the touch-up work here. Means we're going to put a little bit of tire marks in the ground, but that's all right. We'll get through it. Don't worry, we'll get through it. It won't be that big of a deal. We should have enough seed in here to finish this field. There's not, I mean, we're about halfway through the field, honestly. So we should have enough. But if for whatever reason we don't, we'll have to go get more. I just hope I don't have to go get more, honestly. Another trip, more gas wasted, etc., etc. Alright, we just gotta do this little pass here, that little pass over there, and we're done. So let's get to this, gang. Let's get this done. It shouldn't be too long of a time lapse, honestly. Maybe 6 minutes of actual time, maybe 8 minutes of actual time, something like that. So, it shouldn't be a long time lapse at all. Let's get it done. Right, well, I was completely wrong with my time there. That took a lot longer than I expected it to. But that's all right. We got it done. That's all that matters. We got it done. We got to do a fertilization on this, and then we're going to be done for the day and for the episode as well. Now, the next episode, we probably will be back. We'll have a little bit less to do. We'll probably be trying to figure out or sort out what and how we're going to deal with goats. More than likely, we'll put some goats in the next episode once we figure out how we're going to, you know, do the grass stuff, right? We're gonna have to kind of figure out what we're gonna do with that. Whether it's I have to buy a small plow and I just plow out a little section here in our yard that can be utilized, right, for some grass for some goats, at least initially, or we see if we can just cut the grass that's laying around here and see if that's enough. We'd also have to get a loading wagon, right? So there's a lot of things here to purchase. We've only got $45,000 to do it. So I have to see how things go. We can certainly throw in a contract if need be, but like I said, I'm trying to limit those contract moves. Early on, we had to do one or two there, but I'm trying to limit those as much as possible in this series since we're doing them a lot in the other series. Both of the other series, I should say. And since this one is, well, I don't know if the word I was getting ready to use is the right word or not, but since this one has a lot bigger of a field that we're starting with, and from a realistic standpoint, we should be able to make more money quicker on this one. But we'll see, right? We'll see. We just have to play it by ear. Yeah, that rendering and that 30 frames per second, it's just simply not good enough. I do not understand that decision by Giants. I really don't. So I'll continue on here, gang. I'll get the rest of this fertilized up, and we're going to go ahead and leave the episode here. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. It's completely free. Helps me out an absolute ton. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, or ideas, you know the drill. Let me know down below. Check my other series out. Check the other channel out, too, as well, if you haven't done so already. I do have another channel. It is not Farming Simulator. Mostly hack and slash, Dynasty Warriors, and shooters, basically. Having a lot of fun in that one. Playing through Wolong, playing through Remnant, among other series that are continually running as well. So, check that one out. Thanks so much for your continued support. Thank you all so much to my members. I appreciate each and every single one of you so much. You guys mean the world. If you haven't already, there is a November members only video out there for you. Those of you that are members, if you haven't checked that out, it is out there. You should be able to easily find it. You should have been notified as well of that. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.